Hi, and welcome to the Bitcoin Sports Network. I'm Drew, and I'm here to give you an introduction to Bitcoin, or a little Bitcoin 101. So, we're going to talk about what Bitcoin is, why it matters, and how it works. I want to then introduce you to some of the following learning modules and how all of this relates to the mission of the Bitcoin Sports Network. So, first things first, what is Bitcoin? A better question that even precedes that is, what is money? We hear this used frequently. We use money in our day-to-day lives, but what even purpose does it serve? Well, money has three main functions. It's a unit of account, it's a medium of exchange, and it's a store of value. Historically speaking, money has generally been physical. We used gold for thousands of years. We've also used seashells, different types of money throughout history. Only recently did it become digital. And when it became digital, it became controlled by banks, governments, or what we would call centralized entities. Bitcoin is the first form of digital money that is completely decentralized, meaning it is not controlled by any single entity. It is not controlled by a bank or a government or anything else. It runs on a global network of computers that is open, it's transparent, it's unstoppable. Why does that even matter? How does that relate to you? Well, because it's not controlled by a single entity, it's permissionless, meaning that anyone, anywhere in the world can send or store value without permission. There are huge implications behind that statement. This is a way that anyone can protect themselves against inflation, currency manipulation, and really it puts financial control back into the hands of individuals. So we live in a time period during the United States currently where we are spiraling, frankly. The fiscal deficit is at levels never before seen. The amount of interest that the United States government is paying as a percent of GDP is skyrocketed and will continue to skyrocket. And that has, again, major implications for people who are holding US dollars. And it's not just in the United States, it's in many countries, almost all countries across the world, where these fiat currencies are being devalued every time that there is more money printed or a higher deficit that the government runs. So Bitcoin is the first form of money that is finite. It is scarce. And you might ask, well, how can we trust that? Because it is enforced by code. This code is distributed on a network of computers. They're all running the same code, and no single computer has the ability to go in and change the supply, which means that you can store your value in Bitcoin and you cannot in fiat currency. All right, think of it like a melting ice cube. If you keep your money in cash, that ice cube is going to melt over time. If you put your money into something scarce and finite, the purchasing power of it will likely increase over time. So that covers what it is and why. Let's talk about how it actually works. Now, there are volumes of textbooks and articles, blog posts that explain this at length. So you will not be an expert after just a few minutes, but it is important to understand, how does this even work? You've probably heard the term blockchain. Blockchain is a fancy way of saying a distributed public ledger. Right? Just like in a bank, there's a ledger. With Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, they all rely on this blockchain technology. So with Bitcoin, this ledger is just a public record of transactions that are verified and recorded by the computers that support and run the network. Right? These same computers are the ones that enforce the code that I mentioned prior and make sure that Bitcoin supply is fixed. There will only ever be 21 million total Bitcoin. It's secured by energy and math and decentralized consensus, not trust. All right, so there is no person who we have to put faith in to make the right decision. They use math, they use game theory, and they actually have to use energy in order to validate and record the transactions making it an immutable record of transactions histories. So again, just summarizing, why is all this important? I think that's the most important question, not only what it is and how it works, but why it matters. This is going to become more and more important the longer the time goes on, and the longer that governments continue to run fiscal deficits and print money to fund things that devalue the money, the currency that's being held by individuals like us. So what can you expect to learn in the following modules? We're going to dive deeper into the difference between money and currency, how the United States and other countries have used printing money and other forms of fiscal and monetary policy to devalue the dollar, what that impact has on you, why Bitcoin is the complete opposite of that with its finite and scarce supply, and how you can do something about it, how you can take control and you can protect yourself and protect those that you love and your purchasing power by holding assets such as Bitcoin. How does this connect to the Bitcoin Sports Network? Well, we love sports. We love the ideals behind sports, and Bitcoin shares in that same spirit: competition, fairness, transparency. The Bitcoin Sports Network is here to bring communities together across borders. And just like athletes train for freedom and excellence, Bitcoin is about financial freedom and resilience. So we hope that you don't stop here at the 101, that you continue to go through these learning modules, learn more about Bitcoin, how it can benefit you, what impact it can have on you in your life, and then take the opportunity to ask us questions. Come to the trainings and do everything in your power to become an expert for your own benefit. We hope you enjoy.